Well, there's new fallout this morning from the United Nations Security Council resolution condemning Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton now calling on the incoming Trump administration to retaliate against the UN and the countries that voted for the resolution. In an interview, the ambassador said, quote, "I think what Israel, together with the incoming Trump administration, should do is say, look, we're going to give everybody a chance to do this over again, repeal the resolution and pass something that's acceptable. And if not, we're going to take steps to show our unhappiness. I just think it was a very bad idea." Joining us now is Naftali Bennett. He is Israel's Minister of Education, member of the Security Cabinet, and head of the Jewish Home Party, who is a settlement supporter. Minister, welcome, and thank you for joining us from Jerusalem this morning. Let me first ask, is it fair to punish the whole United Nations, do you think, when the Security Council represents, 15 different views of 15 different nations and is not the UN itself?
Well, I think the United Nations has turned into a ridiculous body that's fighting the free world instead of supporting the free world in its battle against radical Islam, which is really the main enemy. You know, Israel is the size of New Jersey, and on our borders of a country the size of New Jersey, we've got ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and Hamas, all of them on Israel's borders, and we're out there fighting them and defending the free world against radical Islam. And then comes the United Nations and sort of stabs us in the back, which is the most ridiculous thing to do. That's why I think it does make sense to try and straighten out this organization and make it be working for its own values.
Well, some say that it strayed, some of it has strayed from the values. The UN Watch says this last year in 2016, the General Assembly passed 20 resolutions, 20 against Israel, and 4 against the whole rest of the world. So why is it seemingly so Israeli myopic?
Well, because it's warped. This is a distorted view of the world, and you have countries like Iran, like Venezuela, that are huge abusers of human rights, and they're out condemning Israel, which is an open and free democracy. I don't know how many people out there know that in Israel, Supreme Court judges are Arab. We have Arab members of Knesset. Arabs enjoy full equal rights, vote for the Knesset, pay their taxes. Show me another country in this region that has such an open and free democracy. And we're the ones out fighting for the free world against radical Islam. So why would you throw us under the bus? Why would the UN do that? Certainly, we need to reevaluate the whole operations of the United Nations.
Well, you talk about throwing under the bus. The supporters of the resolution, last week would not agree with that. I mean, what do you say to the critics and the resolution itself that says that the settlements and continued building that you support are a violation of international law, that it is Israel being provocative and aggressive, and this will not help the two-state Palestinian solution, as well as endangering peace?
Well, 180 degrees wrong. There is already a Palestine. We founded a Palestine in Gaza, and they screwed it up. They turned it into enemy territory. They turned it into another Afghanistan. They used it as a launch pad to shoot thousands of rockets on Tel Aviv and Israel. So there is already a two-state solution. We don't need another Palestinian state that would create havoc in Israel.
And what is that two-state solution? I mean, you've called for the annexing of the West Bank. I mean, is Israel really going to take that responsibility? And wouldn't that incite the Arab world, especially the Arab street?
Precisely the opposite. We're not annexing anything because it's our land. It was granted to us by the League of Nations in 1920. And you know what? Anyone who opens up the Bible also sees that the land of Israel has belonged to the Jews for just about 4,000 years. So it's not anyone's land to give us. It is the Jewish land, and the whole Western world understands that.
Well, certainly
so we're not annexing anything. We're applying our law on...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the Palestinian Authority, of course, I mean, certainly did not agree with that. They recognized Israel in 1993, but not as a Jewish state.
Right, I know, and they don't think, the Arab world, unfortunately, does not think that the Jews should have a Jewish state anywhere, and certainly not here in Israel. So we get that. We're not, illusioning ourselves or telling ourselves that somehow the radical Islam world will ever accept us. We get it. Neither Iran nor ISIS will ever accept a Jewish state here. But that's why we're strong. That's why we're out there fighting. And I think we're a beacon of light in this very tumultuous region. Now, the President-elect Trump, who is a big American patriot, he gets it. He understands that it's time for a fresh approach. I think his success in the business world is a result of creativity, of bold approaches, and that's what we need now here in the Middle East. Well, not to go down the path that's failed so many times, but to reevaluate everything.
Well, certainly there have been decades of this continuation, and he has called for an ultimate deal. We'll see what happens when he takes office. Naftali Bennett, Minister of Education, member of the Security Cabinet, thank you for joining us. You were born in Haifa, but your parents are from San Francisco, so you certainly have American roots and understand both sides very well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Patty.